Let's stop acting like this is just a misunderstanding. According to newly resurfaced emails, statements, and long-buried accusations, Meghan Markle was not a random outsider who accidentally married into the British royal family. She was already connected to circles that scared the palace long before a wedding dress ever appeared. And those circles have a name, Jeffrey Epstein. What is disturbing, and what the royal family cannot escape, is not only Prince Andrew's past, it is the alleged overlap between Meghan Markle, Epstein's social network, and the royal family before she became Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. And yes, this is about emails. Emails that barely mention her, but mention her in a way that matters far more than quantity. Because when blackmail is involved, you do not need many mentions. You only need the right ones. The question everyone should be asking is simple. Why would the palace, with all its power, allow this woman anywhere near Prince Harry if they did not already know what could surface later? And why did the mainstream media suddenly become afraid of asking that question? Because this story does not just hurt reputations, it threatens institutions. Here is a fact that matters. Before 2015, Meghan Markle was basically invisible in elite records. That is not an insult. It is a data point. Until that year, no serious emails, no powerful contacts, no meaningful mentions in elite communications. Even when she attended high-level events, including Soho House gatherings, she was listed as other guest. No leverage, no value, no protection. That matters because nobody hides nobody's. Now here is where things become uncomfortable. By 2016, Meghan Markle's name starts appearing in emails connected to Jeffrey Epstein's network. Not earlier, not slowly, suddenly. And that same year, she begins dating Prince Harry. This is where the story falls apart. Because once Prince Harry goes public, once he releases that statement accusing the press of racism, Meghan Markle's value explodes overnight, not as a woman, but as an asset. And people who trade in access noticed immediately. Let's be very clear. 2016 is not random. It is the turning point. From that year forward, Meghan Markle appears again and again in elite communications. Emails tied to Epstein's circle begin referencing her. Powerful middlemen suddenly move resources for her benefit. And here is where proof stops being theory. In February 2017, Meghan Markle flies by private jet to Jamaica, paid for and arranged through billionaire connections, while Prince Harry flies commercial economy. Let that sink in. The prince flies economy. The actress flies private. That jet was not a gift. It was an investment. According to the transcript and related claims, the jet belonged to Ron Burkle, the owner of Soho House, and billionaires do not loan planes to nobodies. From this point on, Meghan Markle is no longer moving on her own. She is being moved. Handlers, allegedly shocked by their luck, realize she has secured a prince. And once that happens, letting go is not an option. Because if her past ever fully surfaces, not partly, not softened, the fallout does not just affect her. It blows up everything around her, including the palace. And this is only the start, because next we name the people who allegedly placed her directly inside Epstein's world. Now, let's talk about the environment Meghan Markle was allegedly moving in, because this is where people start to feel uneasy. Multiple people named in the transcript are described as part of what is politely called elite social yachting culture. This is not about vacations, it is about access. Names begin overlapping again and again. Petronia Petrova, described as a known participant in these circles. Adam Horn, who allegedly arranged meetings and introductions linked to yacht events. Karina Shulak, identified as Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend, who said she only traveled by yacht with Epstein himself. These names do not matter alone. They matter together because this is the same environment repeatedly connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And according to the transcript, Meghan Markle was not near this world. She was allegedly inside it. This is where the story breaks down, because Epstein's world was not casual. It was controlled, monitored, documented. Which brings us to the woman whose testimony makes this entire story explosive. Her name is Virginia Giuffre, and according to the transcript, she did something that explains everything. She allegedly named Meghan Markle as a witness. Let that sit, not as a victim, not as a bystander, but as someone present enough to see. And here is the part the media refuses to touch. Virginia Giuffre also named Prince Charles, now King Charles III, as a possible witness. That single detail explains the silence. Because once a victim's testimony threatens the crown itself, journalism stops being journalism. It becomes containment. According to the transcript, Giuffre also allegedly stated that Meghan Markle had been on Epstein's island, allegedly, and if that is true, then this story is no longer about Meghan Markle's image. It is about what the palace already knew and when. This is why Prince Andrew mattered as a shield. This is why the palace did not stop the relationship. And this is why the emails starting in 2016 are so dangerous, because they do not tell a story of innocence. They tell a story of timing, silence, and leverage. And next, we confront the royal family members who were allegedly communicating with Epstein directly, while Meghan Markle's name quietly circulated in the background. At some point, this story stops being about Meghan Markle alone, because according to the transcript, emails exist between Jeffrey Epstein and Sarah Ferguson that directly mention Meghan Markle. Let's be very clear why that matters. Sarah Ferguson is not a distant social figure. She is the former wife of Prince Andrew, the same prince, already disgraced by his connection to Epstein. According to the transcript, Ferguson had known Meghan Markle since at least 2012. That means Meghan Markle was not unknown to the royal inner circle when she later entered it publicly. And it also means something else. If emails between Epstein and Sarah Ferguson mention Meghan Markle after 2016, then Meghan Markle's name is circulating inside royal Epstein communications. At the exact time she is dating Prince Harry, that is not coincidence. That is overlap. And it raises a question no one wants to answer honestly. How does a woman, allegedly tied to Epstein's social world, marry into a family already struggling to contain an Epstein scandal? Because at that point, the palace was not choosing love. They were choosing damage control. People keep asking the wrong question. They ask, why won't the media investigate Meghan Markle? The real question is, why would they dare? Because once this story is followed all the way, it does not stop at a duchess. It reaches the crown. According to the transcript, Virginia allegedly named both Meghan Markle and the then Prince Charles as witnesses. That changes everything because once a victim's testimony touches the monarch, now King Charles III, the story becomes untouchable. Journalism turns into risk calculation. Editors stop asking what is true and start asking who gets destroyed. That is why private citizens, independent creators, and whistleblowers are doing the work while mainstream outlets circle the story but never land. They already know they do not need to investigate. They need to manage the damage. And that is why this story is not being argued. It is being delayed. Now we reach the part that explains the panic. According to the transcript, the most damaging emails do not exist before 2016. They begin after Meghan Markle becomes romantically linked to Prince Harry, and they continue until 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein is arrested. That matters because it means the emails do not record her rise, they record her protection. They allegedly include discussions involving Meghan Markle, communications between Epstein and royal-linked figures, references that suggest familiarity, not distance. And here's the key point. You do not need hundreds of emails to destroy a story. You only need enough to prove access. According to the transcript, Meghan Markle knows this. That is why exposure would be final. Not awkward, not harmful. Final. Because once those emails are public, the story can no longer be framed as coincidence, racism, or media cruelty. It becomes a question of who knew what and when. So let's end this clearly. This is no longer about whether you like Meghan Markle or whether you support Prince Harry or whether the royal family feels outdated. This is about power. This is about silence. This is about what happens when elite institutions decide exposure is more dangerous than truth. According to the transcript, the palace is preparing for what is coming. Not because Meghan Markle is still tied to them, but because the past does not care about changes in status. Emails do not forget. Witnesses do not forget. Patterns do not vanish just because time passes. And now those patterns are being looked at again. If you stayed through this entire breakdown, you already understand something most people do not. This was not a fairy tale gone wrong. It was a risk calculation that worked until it failed. And as more information comes out, the only question left is who will still be protected when the silence finally breaks. Because when institutions panic, it is never because of rumors. It is because of proof.